Is that Catherine's heartbeat? They're beating in sync.
God played a trick on you.
BoogeyMan band coming round the bend. Is BoogeyMan band? Is BoogeyMan band?
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. And today's video is going to be talking about the brand new chapter in the Exorcist franchise, The Exorcist Believer. When two girls disappear into the woods and return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them, the father of one girl seeks out Chris MacNeil, who's been forever altered by what happened to her daughter 50 years ago. The movie stars Leslie Odom Jr. as Victor Fielding, Jennifer Nettles as Miranda, Ann Dodd as Anne, Norbert Leo Butz as Tony, Olivia O'Neill as Catherine, Liddy Jewett as Angela, and Ellen Burstyn as Chris MacNeil. The screen story was written by Scott Teems, Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, based on the characters created by William Peter Blatty. The screenplay was done by Peter Sattler and David Gordon Green, and David Gordon Green also directed. I saw the film today. It was kind of nice. It was an empty theater. I went during a matinee. This movie is not the critical darling, that's for sure. That's across, mainstream critics as well as YouTube critics. I have seen it just eviscerated, and some are a lot nastier than others. One, who I won't mention here, said that David Gordon Green deserves to burn in hell for this film, which is taking things a little extreme in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't know what I was walking into, but much like Halloween Ends, which was not a favorite for a lot of people, I just went into this with an open mind thinking, okay, this is not going to be the original Exorcist, it's not going to be Exorcist 3, this is going to be something different. So I wanted to just go in with an open mind and be 100% honest when I talked about the film. When the news came that there was going to be a new Exorcist franchise, they were doing a 3-picture deal, and this was announced during the pandemic. It was announced in late 2020. And of course, David Gordon Green at that point, Halloween Kills was in the can, and he had huge success with Halloween 2018. So I am not the biggest Exorcist franchise fan outside of the original and part 3. I think the film was really well done, and I think everybody in the cast did a commendable job. I do like Leslie Odom Jr. I've seen him in other films. Of course, he was Aaron Burr in Hamilton, but I've seen him in The Glass Onion. He was in Murder on the Orient Express, the remake that Kenneth Branagh did, and I think he's fantastic in this film. You really feel what he's going through. At the beginning of the film, he has to make a horrible decision, and it's something that sort of sticks with him for the rest of his life. So you really understand where he's coming from. The bond between him and the young woman who plays his daughter, Lydia Jewett, who plays Angela, I loved it. It was very believable, and I really loved the interactions that they have. And so when this happens, where her and her friend, the character of Catherine, played by Olivia O'Neill, disappear for 3 days, you really feel that breakdown of his life. And I thought it was really well done. It was very slow building to the eventual exorcist that will occur in the third act. And I just, like I said, I really was compelled by what was going on. And I felt like both actresses, the young actresses that are possessed in this film, Lydia Jewett and Olivia O'Neill, were terrific. And the makeup effects by Christopher Nelson were just absolutely incredible. And the voices I thought were great. I think they both did fantastic jobs, and it was very compelling. And the strongest relationships in it were between Victor and Angela. I feel like they had the strongest bond. Catherine's parents of Miranda and Tony were more one note. They were okay. They weren't my favorites in the film, but they didn't bother me like they bothered some other people. And also Ann Dowd, who I love, one of my favorite actresses. She was terrific in it. I love anything I see her in. And of course, it was great having the amazing Ellen Burstyn come back as Chris. And I know that a lot of people seeing that just think it's a gimmick. We've seen, legacy characters come back, like with Laurie Strode, of course, and then last year with the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre requel, whatever you want to call it. I really hate that term, requel, but that film, of course, you had Sally Hardesty come back, and that was weak. As much as I liked that film, that was an element I thought could have been stripped out of it. And David Gordon Green has gone on record saying he could have done this film without Ellen Burstyn, but he's really glad that he had her there. And I actually felt like she fit. She doesn't, I'm not trying to ruin anything, but she doesn't have a huge role in the film. but for the time that she's there, it was compelling, and I did really enjoy it. And I felt like for this character and the age that this character is, I thought it worked. That's all I'm going to say about it. There was some themes in this film that I really thought was refreshing to see, and it wasn't just sort of playing on the conventions of the old, playing on what we've seen in the other Exorcist films, and it really was about community. And I think that's something that was interesting, something we haven't seen before. And that's one thing I respect about David Gordon Green and everybody involved with the writing on this film as well as the Halloween films, is that they're adding new elements that we haven't really touched upon in the previous efforts. There's tons of people on YouTube that are ripping it apart. I've seen very few that actually have been fair to it, but I'm just going to say I enjoyed it. That's my take on it. I enjoyed it. It was effective. It moved me in certain points of the film, made me emotional. And I didn't expect that from an Exorcist film, and it's because of the performances, and that's what this film did for me. It was the amazing performances. Everybody did a great job, and hats off to everybody that worked really hard on this. And I support it, and I'm not, and I'm not doing that to go against the grain. If it was a movie that I didn't care for, I would be honest and tell you I didn't care for it. I really think that a lot of the negativity being hurled at this film is coming from angry fans from the Halloween films. Like, I feel like if David Gordon Green had opened this film in between Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, I think this film would have done better. A lot of people that are, commenting on this new film are already saying that they were disappointed in the Halloween trilogy that David Gordon Green did, and that they're going into this with that in mind. So I feel like if you're already going into something with sort of a negative context as to what you're about to see, then you're probably going to skew negatively. So yeah, Exorcist Believer, I liked it. I think it was a great film, and I really am glad that I saw it in the theater. I'm glad I made my own decision on it, and I hope everyone else will share their thoughts on the film. Please, no spoilers. I've seen a lot of people really spoiling a lot of elements of the film. Please don't do that here on the channel, because if you do, I'm going to delete your comment. I don't want this movie ruined. I think people should go and watch it and make up their own decisions, and not listen to the masses that are crying foul and bloody murder, because I really do think that this is some type of payback for people that felt like they got burned with Halloween Ends, and that's just my opinion. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I hope everyone's doing well. I promise I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace. Hey, my fellow Fright Fiends, I just want to thank everyone for supporting BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone. If you haven't yet subscribed and you'd like to, please hit the subscribe button down below. Click the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I try to drop a video at least once or twice a week. The Horror Zone is a passion of mine, and it really makes me happy that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace.